to Emily Kate Made This. I am Emily Kate and I'm coming to you from Berlin in Germany. Welcome to my episode about my knitting machine. One of my many videos, I hope, about my vintage knitting machine from 1956. This is an episode all about socks. Something I haven't tried before and something I desperately want to. So let us get on to the video. Hello everybody, this is a rather spontaneous video because my original video planned for this week all went down the toilet. The pattern I was trying to do and create didn't. So, spontaneous video. I haven't even bothered to put on something nice and knitted for you. But there are no builders for a millisecond, so I am here to record my intro and that is what we're doing. So I have another installment of my Knittax knitting machine from 1956, and what can I do with it? I thought it would be very fun to see if I can make some socks on my new machine. Now this is a flatbed machine, so it doesn't have any ability to knit in the round like socks or sleeves, or you know the drill. It is all flat, so a lot of knitting patterns from the 40s and 50s are knitted flat anyway, so that was handy. I thought I could just follow a pattern. Turns out it's not quite that simple because you have to do it in a kind of specific way on the machine, but I learnt a few things. Spoiler alert, I have indeed attempted to make these socks, and I shall bring you along on the journey of how it went. So I thought I would show you which pattern I'm using. It is from the original Knittax, yes this is backwards, I'm using my phone, Knittax M2 manual, and I'm looking at it, but I'm also using some YouTubers' videos from about 12 years ago to try and see what they're doing. Let me show you the pattern. So you start with the rib, then do the leg, then do the heel, and all the rest. It's incredibly confusing to me, but thankfully there are YouTubers and I can understand a lot better when someone shows me exactly what to do on a video. Okay, so socks. Socks are the new thing. Thank you to the person who told me about cast-on rags, because this is a cast-on rag and I will be using it. I will update you as I go along. Don't know if it's going to work, but I hope so. Now I am about to start the heel. Was going so well, but look at the size of this. It's enormous, like enormous. That is not going to fit me. Oh, it was going so well. Also, I lied, that wasn't the heel. I have no idea what I'm doing. That's the toe. The heel is going to be somewhere up here somehow. Also, this seam as you go method, well, that is horrendous. No, that is not going to work for me. Excuse the mess. Yeah, what is this creation? So the toe goes like way out here. Yeah. This is really weird. It was going so well. Okay, so I just decided that I would knit it without seaming as I went. It is so bizarre. So I have to do the ribbing by hand. but I want to check that this actually works first. I think the heel, so I don't know, something's going to get attached here. That's the top of the foot, that is the toe, that's the bottom of the foot, and there's the heel. I will take it off the machine and seam, and then I might have a clue what we're looking at. Sorry, I'm turning my phone. This is mad. Okay, so I have to Kitchener stitch this part of the sock to this bottom part of the sock. And then seam all the way up. Oh, I'm going to be so good at seaming by the end of all this machine knitting. Whenever I watch this on a YouTube, they just pull on this orange yarn and it all comes out so easily. And I have to individually take off every single stitch. Not entirely sure why it does this to me, but alas, I shall individually take off every orange stitch so I can remove this cast on rag, so I've got less bulk, because this is just look at this. I need to make it somehow smoother and easier. Good morning. So update in the daylight. Look at me showing you things in actual light. I seamed one side yesterday. It is looking a little bit less overwhelming, although this is annoying me. I managed to pick up the stitches and go straight through this, so I can't take this entire length of yarn off until I have grafted the heel. So that's hanging out with me for a while. I could not figure out how to do the Kitchener stitch. You know when you do something and you've done it so many times, and then you go to do it and you cannot remember what it is and how it is that you ever did it in the past. I was trying to do my Kitchener stitch backwards, so that's why it didn't work. So despite the fact that I have done Kitchener stitch for 4 years, and I just, that was gone, that was lost to me. So I will do that today, so I can Kitchener stitch the heel, and then I just have 2 seams to go. Then I can try them on and see if they even fit. I don't know how comfortable a sock with such a seam is going to be. I mean, I think it's really quite ugly, but it's, maybe there is a way to do it that's neater. I will give that seam as you go trick another go. But I don't know. I don't know that it's going to go any easier the second time around, but it does look like a sock at least, kind of, with imagination. I shall report back when more has been done. And the builders are outside again, but I just thought I would update that the yarn has been released. I have done one half of the heel Kitchener stitch. Now I'm doing the second half of the Kitchener. Okay, update. We have a heel. So I've just Kitchenered along here where the pink is and the blue. Update everybody, it is looking like a sock. I did just try it on. It is too big, but what are you gonna do? It's not like the end of the world. I mean, it's a sock. Self-striping yarn is maybe not the best option, because you knit this part first, then you do the toe, and then you come up, so it's never going to match. But I don't actually care. This is a Frankenstein test sock, but just for future reference. So now I just have to add the rib, which is just so funny. I've said it many times before. I wanted a knitting machine so it would do all the rib for me, and I'm ending up doing all the rib for it. I will just do a little bit. I could just leave it rolling over, I suppose, as I don't know how much wear I will get out of these, but I will make that decision later. For now I have to go clean the house. But yeah, here they are. They, plural. Oh, you optimist. Here it is, my singular sock. So I was just weighing this after looking. There's 18 grams left, and apparently this weighs like 30. Okay. It's pretty ugly, isn't it? How is this so huge? I won't be able to make a pair. I don't understand. Usually you can make a full pair of socks out of a 50-gram ball. Oh, this could be a really anticlimactic YouTube video. A whole video about socks and then it doesn't work. Well, I can tell you that my experimental sock, this seaming is one that I watched where somebody said you just knit into the, like, you squish the fabric together like this, and then you knit one stitch from that side, one stitch from that side. I would say that looks really awful. And I did one seam on the foot. I've got to see which one it is now. One seam on the foot I did as like a mattress stitch, and the other one I did the same way that I just showed you. This is my mattress seam stitch. Seaming is just really hard. I need to find an alternative because this mattress does not look nice, and nor does this, whatever it's called, where you pick up two of the bars. And after all of this and hours of seaming, I might have to rip it out anyway because there's not enough yarn. Ugh. So yeah, let's assume that the needles are like 4 grams. This is a 50-gram ball of wool. It's essentially 30 grams for a sock, and I have 50. Okay, let's take some positive notes from this. I learned how to do short rows for the toe. I learned how to do short rows for the heel. I learned how to, well, I would say seam a sock together. Technically, I learned how it's done. I just also learned it's really ugly and really hard to do. Yeah, I did learn some things from it. That is the main thing. I do wish I had learned that the seaming was so bad earlier. But I'm excited that I learned about short rows. I'm feeling slightly disheartened, but I know that there are other sock methods where you just have one seam that goes down. Maybe that would be less ugly because you'd only have it on one side and you could put that on the inside of your foot. So maybe I would try that next. I also have a question for you because I'm curious. It has never occurred to me to watch a YouTube and start the video and then skip to the end to see what the finished item was. I always just watch the whole video, just like I always read a book, whereas my husband would always read the last page and then read the book. I'm curious how many of you watch this kind of video and just skip forward to the end, or do actually watch all the way through. Because I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently that's a thing. Just curious. So, it looks like a frog. And if at first you don't succeed, try again, so they say. So this is 59 stitches, and I'm trying the seam as you go technique. Pretty sure it's going to be equally as ugly, but if it's equally as ugly and I don't have to hand seam it, then why not? We shall see how it looks when it's off. Hopefully it will fit. I'm doing a lot of guesstimating because even though I'm using the pattern in the manual and I'm using my gauge for measurements, the other sock was absolutely enormous, so I don't know. let's see. I have to undo the other sock because I only have this much left of this yarn, so I have to undo the other one so I can harvest it for this. I just really hope there's enough for 2 pairs. Or 2 pairs, 2 singular, 1 pair. Good news, Mayflower 2 times, and I just found it. So it is inside this bag of sock yarn. So I now need to open it after sealing it all away. But yes, another one. Woo! Yeah, this is the seam as you go. I ran out of yarn here, so I have to deal with that later. Yeah, not too shabby. If my camera would focus, that would be better. So I am going to seam the heel with these heel bits on the side, and then I will show you maybe tomorrow, because it's quite late, how it went. They are, aren't they, the most insane, chaotic things you've ever seen. I haven't blocked them yet. Mostly because whenever I make socks, I just tend to wear them and then I give them their first wash, like block. I don't really block anything, I just wash it. But they do look a bit funny on the top because I haven't washed them. But here they are. Admittedly, I should probably have started with yarn that isn't self-striping so it doesn't look quite as insane, but to be honest, I don't actually care. They're going to be on my feet, they're going to be in slippers or in shoes, it really doesn't matter. But they're very, very delightful, they're very happy. As you will have seen in the video, I did opt, after multiple failures, to do the seam as you go on the machine, which it does take a lot longer, and I'm not entirely sure if it looks like great, but since I've been seaming a lot since getting this machine, because obviously everything is flat, I've been doing a lot of seaming, but I mean, they're going to be on my feet, so it doesn't really matter. I will admit that knitting socks in the round looks a lot better. The heel seems a bit stronger, but equally I have done my short row heels by hand and they don't look like that great anyway. I love a heel flap and gusset, so don't know that you can do that on a machine. I'm super curious now, but pretty sure you can't. If you know that you can on a flatbed machine, do let me know below in the comments. So, do knitted socks on a flatbed machine work? Yes, they do. Do they require lots of seaming? Yes, they do. Is seaming quite ugly? Yes, it is. But can you knit these up very quickly? Yes, you can. If you're somebody, and I know a lot of you out there will knit a pair of socks like this in a couple of days, but I am not that person. I need about 2 weeks to knit a pair of socks, and that's a plain pair. If they've got colour work or anything else going on, it's probably more like 3 weeks, and that is just completely knitting the socks and nothing else. So for me, if I want to try out different techniques, different colour work patterns, I think this could be a really fun way to do it, because I could knit like the whole sock plain. I could do contrast heels and toes and cuffs, but essentially I could still knit the whole sock plain and then do some colour work on the leg and get my colour work kicks out there. And so that is still something fun for me to do. It's not like I'm not ever going to knit socks by hand anymore. Obviously I will. They look better and you can do a lot more things with colour work and patterns versus on the machine. Technically you can do a load of different techniques and patterns on the machine, but it does involve quite a lot of tedious things. And I don't have a needle, what are they even called? Like a little tool that selects needles. I don't have any of those because they're very special to this machine. So finding one out in the wild is just going to take some time. But I know they exist, I just have to wait patiently until I find one. So I would have to do everything with my finger, and that gets really confusing when it's like 60 needles and you have to try and select them and there aren't numbers. There's like 0, 10, 20, but if I need to do every third or every fourth, it just gets a bit much, and I think it's just more fun to do that by hand. But it is an option should I get a bit more confident with the machine. But for now I'm having quite a lot of fun just knowing that I could make these socks. I have seen different ways of doing it. So there's toe up, cuff down, one seam that you seam by hand at the end that goes all the way from the toe and up, and then you have to do a kitchen stitch at the toe. It looks kind of ugly. And I have attempted a different sock. That was toe up, yeah. I tried to do a toe up sock where you cast on the toe on one half of these stitches, and then you knit the foot and the leg, and then just the foot, then you do the heel on the other side, and then you do the leg, so that they would meet properly. But my whole sock was just off. It was completely off center, so that didn't really work. I don't know if I must have done something wrong, because if there's a YouTube that means you can do it, then I probably did that wrong. So I will try it again in the future, but for now I have other plans. Hopefully, if all goes to plan, hopefully you will see that having come to fruition in my next probably normal podcast episode. So yes, socks can indeed be made on the Knittax M2 knitting machine. So thank you for sticking around for this very random, spontaneous stand-in video, and I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, and I will see you all on my next video. Thanks for watching, bye!